Hello everyone, my name is Elul Montes de Oca and I would like to talk about how physical architectural models are an outdated manner in which to translate architectural ideas. There was a rhythmic cadence of blood droplets dotting the floor. It was a route that could be clearly traced from my studio desk on the first floor of the Paul Cejas Architectural Building at FIU to the men's restroom, or it could have been reversed from the restroom to my desk. It was around 6:30 in the morning, and I had spent a large portion of the night working on a model which I would be presenting later on that day at 2 p.m. It was my final review for Design 3 with Professor Claudia Bush, and I clearly remember all these details because of what happened. Part of my left hand's index finger, including a portion of the nail, was hanging by a thin piece of skin. I spent the next 2 hours at FIU's clinic only for the nurse to apply what seemed to be like Loctite to close up my wound, and then bandage it so that my finger ended up the size of a Twinkie bar. Yes, I had fallen victim to an X-Acto knife with a dull tip, yet a very, very sharp blade. All of this for a physical architectural model. Physical architectural models have been a mainstay of architectural design for ages. According to the Architectural Review, the oldest known physical architectural model dates to the year 4600 BC. Yes, that's about 6,600 years ago. Moving on through the ages, in the Middle Ages actually, Filippo Brunelleschi used his model in the 15th century to show how the dome for a cathedral, which he designed, was to be built. Of course, he left the model incomplete because he wanted to ensure his employment. But are architectural models meant to be a way to keep our jobs? I think it's time to rethink how we present our ideas to clients and advance and move forward in our architectural visualizations. Physical architectural models are not the best way to present our designs. They take a lot of time to fabricate correctly and neatly, they cost a lot of money, and they mainly end up in landfills. The average student may easily spend between $200 to $300 per semester in materials costs alone. This is not even counting tools, this is not counting lab fees that may be added on to the expenditure of students. According to Curbed New York, large firms may spend up to $1 million on large scale models. These models take a lot of time to develop. Some smaller models may take only days to complete. And this may not be a big deal for a large firm, but for smaller ones or even students, man hours have to be managed very, very carefully. Other much larger models may take up months and many people to complete. Typically, these large-scale models are fabricated by companies which specialize in physical architectural model building. Bob Borson, a seasoned architect and author, noted in lifeofanarchitect.com that their firm once hired 2 interns over the summer solely to work on one physical model. Also, these physical models, after initial usage, they may end up in landfills. We use cardboard, chipboard, foam core board, all these materials, all these woods, plastics, metals, whatever may come in handy to represent our ideas. And at the end of the semester, many of our models end up just taking the brunt of our frustration, of pent up anger of a semester's worth, and just being totally destroyed. It's funny, but it's also sad. Again, Bob Borson noted in lifeofanarchitect.com that there are currently 7 fairly large models stashed all over the office. And despite the fact that the staff is almost sitting on top of one another, we're okay taking up precious real estate because we think these models send the right sort of message and help set the tone for the type of design culture we want to maintain in the office. He also stated, the clients have paid for them for the models, but to the best of my knowledge, none have ever wanted to keep the models afterwards. This is unsustainable. Other physical models also end up in similar situations, and this is not what we as architects want to promote. We want to promote more environmentally friendly techniques and approaches. So what is the solution to this mess? In a word, renderings. More complexly, Let's call it digital architectural visualizations. These may be renderings, but they may also be animations in which a camera flies through and a beautiful image is provided to the client. And even most recently, virtual reality, which is a fascinating aspect which could allow a potential customer to place his or herself within a building or within an area that we have designed. These architectural visualizations are not as expensive. The costs are much more manageable. The development times are much shorter. And best of all, no materials are used and much less are they wasted. So imagine saving hundreds of dollars now and thousands in the futures each year. Having time to actually develop the design and not have to freeze the design at a point in time due to time constraints. Imagine interning at a firm and actually learning about the business and not being stuck doing the same thing you had been doing in school all this time, physical models. Imagine having free time. Yes, I know it's a very foreign concept to us architecture students, but such a thing does exist. Believe me, I know. Imagine not creating additional work for yourself. Imagine practicing what we preach, being environmentally conscious. So I urge you, consider how much better and how much more efficient we could be in architecture if we advance as a new generation of architects. But this does not have to wait until we are practicing architects. We can start right now. We can begin by asking our professors, the chairs and heads of departments to help us as we move forward and leave the outdated ways of architectural visualization behind. We can save money, we can use our time much more productively and be more environmentally responsible. And we can start right now. And yes, we could prevent future injuries such as mine, of which I still have my battle scar. If you're wondering, I was not able to complete that model, yet my drawings, diagrams, very primitive renderings, and layout were adequate enough for me to not only present, but have my project selected to be showcased in the gallery over the winter and into spring. No physical model needed. Thank you.